Since the dawn of time, an unseen battle has raged, a conflict between darkness and light, between truth and deception. In the midst of this cosmic struggle, certain individuals are marked, chosen, and set apart for a divine purpose. But here's the startling truth. Most never realize it. They go through life feeling lost, questioning their existence, and striving in a world that values wealth, status, and material gain above all else. Meanwhile, the calling that has been upon their lives from birth remains unnoticed. What if you were one of these individuals? What if signs of your divine purpose have been manifesting since childhood, but you either ignored them or failed to understand their meaning? What if every challenge, every victory, and every moment of deep isolation was part of a larger plan? The world teaches us that success is measured by riches, luxury, and financial prosperity, implying that if you lack wealth, you have nothing. But the truth is that God's ways are far greater. His definition of abundance transcends material wealth and is deeply tied to destiny, purpose, and the impact you were meant to have on this world. Look around, people chase money, believing it will bring them happiness, yet they still feel empty. They pursue luxury, thinking it will give them security, but they live in fear of losing it all. However, when God marks someone, when He places a calling over their life, nothing in this world, no riches or human ambition, can compare to walking in His divine will. If you've ever felt different, if you've ever sensed that you don't fit into the world's mold, and if you've faced challenges from a young age, pay close attention. That is no accident. Many of the greatest men and women in the Bible, those who changed history, were set apart from birth. But each one had to recognize the signs, embrace their calling, and step into their purpose. Today, you are on the verge of discovering something that could change your life forever. Signs that God may have been revealing to you since childhood. Signs that indicate you were chosen, set apart, and destined for something much greater than the world can offer. Before we go any further, don't let this moment pass. Make sure to subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications because we are about to uncover knowledge that many go their entire lives without ever discovering. Once you learn these truths, you will never see your life the same way again. You were chosen from the womb, your purpose decided before you were born. I need you to do something important now. Take a moment to declare this over your life. I trust that God will give me victory to overcome every obstacle. When you speak words of faith, you align yourself with His promises. I will personally acknowledge each comment as a sign that we stand together in this truth. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to carry an undeniable presence, a sense of divine direction, even from childhood? The answer lies in Scripture. In Jeremiah 1 verse 5, God told the prophet, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart." This is not just a message for Jeremiah. It's a spiritual truth that applies to everyone called by God. Consider Moses. From birth, his life was surrounded by danger. Pharaoh had ordered all Hebrew male infants to be killed, yet God had a plan. Moses was placed in a basket, sent down the river, and miraculously adopted into the very palace that sought his destruction. Though he grew up surrounded by wealth and luxury, his heart was drawn to his true purpose, leading God's people to freedom. Why is it that those chosen by God often face great obstacles before they can even live out their calling? Because the enemy recognizes destiny before the chosen one does. He will try to destroy you before you realize who you are. If you have ever faced opposition, rejection, or seemingly insurmountable circumstances, understand this. It was never about you. It was about the calling on your life. Think about Jesus. Even before he could speak a word, King Herod sought to kill him by ordering the massacre of innocent children. Darkness always attempts to eliminate the light before it has the chance to shine. But what the enemy intends for harm, God turns into preparation. No amount of wealth or luxury in this world can compare to walking in God's divine plan. The world glorifies riches, but even the wealthiest person without purpose feels empty. That's why so many people who seem to have everything still feel lost, because without God's calling, without understanding why you were placed on this earth, nothing truly satisfies. The greatest wealth you can have is not material. It is knowing that you were chosen, that you were set apart for something greater. The signs have been there all along. Moments when you felt different, struggles that shaped you, and times when you sensed that your life had more meaning than what was visible. Unfortunately, many people ignore these signs, allowing the world to dictate their worth based on money, luxury, and status. But the chosen are called to something deeper. Their inheritance is not just earthly riches, but eternal significance. So, ask yourself, have there been moments in your life where God's hand was clearly at work? Times when He protected you, guided you, or placed certain desires in your heart that set you apart? So, it's no accident. If you've ever felt different from those around you, if your spirit has wrestled with the things of this world, then there is something you need to understand, something that will become clearer as we continue this journey. Does this resonate with you? Have you ever felt set apart for something greater, even if you didn't fully understand it? Share your thoughts, and let's move forward. There is so much more to uncover. Measured by money, life may seem unfair, but when viewed through a divine purpose, struggles are not signs of failure. They are preparation. If you've ever felt that your life has been under constant attack, or wondered why things seem harder for you compared to others who seem to have it easy, don't be discouraged. The battles you've faced weren't meant to break you, but to shape and ready you for what lies ahead. If you're feeling weighed down by those battles now, know this: your breakthrough is closer than you realize. If this resonates with you, and you've ever felt your struggles were unjust but now see the purpose behind them, take a moment to acknowledge it. Liking this message not only helps spread it to others who need to hear it, but it's also an act of faith, a declaration that you're choosing to see beyond the challenges and into the victory that God has in store for you. Your story isn't over. In fact, it's only just beginning. For those chosen, God uses trials to prepare them. There comes a time in every chosen person's life when they begin to question everything. Why has their journey been so difficult? Why do they feel set apart from others? Why does it seem that the dreams God placed in their heart are met with endless resistance? The answer is clear: it's preparation. God doesn't send untrained soldiers into battle, nor does He elevate untested leaders. Those called to greatness must first undergo seasons of refining, where their faith, character, and endurance are tested. While the world may view hardship as failure, God sees it as training for something greater. Take Joseph, for example. He had dreams of leadership, but instead, he was betrayed, enslaved, and wrongly imprisoned. From an outsider's perspective, it seemed like a series of tragic events, but God was using those experiences to prepare him for the palace. Look at David, who was anointed king as a young boy, yet didn't immediately step into his destiny. Instead, he spent years in the wilderness, fighting battle after battle. He was called, but he wasn't yet ready for the weight of the throne. His trials molded him into the leader he needed to become. Even Moses, who grew up in wealth, wasn't sent to deliver Israel until he had spent 40 years in the wilderness, learning humility, obedience, and reliance on God. Struggles aren't meant to destroy you, they're meant to develop you. Yet many misunderstand this and see hardship as a sign they aren't called when, in truth, the enemy attacks those who pose a threat, and God uses trials for a purpose. If God gave you everything you were meant to have before you were ready, would you be able to handle it? If Joseph had gone straight to Pharaoh's palace without enduring his hardships, would he have had the wisdom to rule a nation? If David had ascended to the throne without years of battle, would he have had the strength to lead? The process is essential. This is where many chosen ones falter. They look at the world and see people who seem to thrive on wealth, luxury, and status. They doubt God's plan, comparing their struggles to the worldly success of others. But worldly success is fleeting. Money can vanish in an instant. Luxury is temporary, but purpose is eternal. Sometimes, God even withholds riches from those he has called, knowing that wealth without purpose can lead to ruin. Many have risen to power only to fall because they weren't prepared for the responsibility success brings. God is not just preparing you for elevation but for the ability to sustain it. If you find yourself in a season of waiting, struggling, or uncertainty, understand that it's not punishment, it's preparation. Reflect on the battles you've fought and the paths God has led you down. Do you truly think it was all for nothing? Every hardship, every rejection, every struggle was shaping and strengthening you for what's to come. When you step into the fullness of your purpose, you won't just survive, you will thrive. And what awaits you will be worth every challenge you've endured. There's something powerful about the gifts God places within us. They are not random and they are not small. They are signs of the purpose he has assigned to us. Yet many people either never recognize their gifts or misuse them for purposes outside of God's plan. From childhood, there are signs of what we were created to do, but society often encourages people to ignore them in favor of chasing wealth, status, and worldly success. However, the gifts God gives are not for personal gain but for a divine purpose. Gifts, when used correctly, can bring fulfillment beyond measure. Yet many spend their lives chasing money and power, using their talents for personal gain rather than for God's kingdom. They fail to realize that gifts not used for God's purpose will never bring true satisfaction. The world may push the idea that wealth equals success, but without purpose, even the greatest achievements feel hollow. Real fulfillment comes from using your gifts in alignment with God's calling. When you align your life with your purpose, everything else falls into place. Wealth, luxury, and success fade, but purpose lasts forever. So the question is, how will you use the gifts God has placed inside you? Will you use them to serve his purpose or only for your own success?